For the first time in a long time, the Detroit Lions are going into an NFL season with only 4 wide receivers on their active roster, which is a number I myself don't like. I would personally like to have at least 6. I just feel better with that number, but that's just me. But Brad Holmes said something in his press conference yesterday morning that he didn't want to just give that spot away to a guy who didn't earn it, just because that these guys had to earn a spot. And Caden Davis, Darius Fountain, nor did Donovan Peoples-Jones earn that spot. So what does Brad Holmes do? He goes out and he signs Tim Patrick, former Denver Bronco, and Allen Robinson, former Chicago Bear, former LA Ram, and former whatever team he just came from. It is escaping me at the moment. That would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right. And you guys know how I reacted. I reacted the way I always react. And no, I'm not crying when something don't go my way. I'm just ready to win, whatever it takes. If this is how we get there, then so be it. All right. No excuses, though. Defense need to be better, and I don't want to hear it when it's all said and done. One goal. Brad Holmes said it himself. And man, I'm glad he said this. What are your expectations for 2024? Super Bowl. So I'm going to hold you to that, B. We deserve one. So I'm going to echo those sentiments. All right. So he just gave me a reason to act more ridiculous. Man, I love Brad Holmes. But what we're going to do this video, I'm going to ask you a question. What wide receiver out of the 3 that's on the practice squad, which one will win wide receiver number 3? I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end of the video as to who will get wide receiver number 3. Now let's take a look at the first individual that was signed to the practice squad as far as wide receiver. Tim Patrick, undrafted. This is what he had in the preseason, was hurt the past 2 years. 2 season-ending injuries the prior 2 off seasons. But what did he do before that? We went over his stats, but let's go over them again. Had his best year of his career 4 seasons ago before he got hurt. So you can see the potential that is, as he was starting, his career was actually on the uptick when he got hurt. So let's look at his last year, 16 games, 53 receptions, 85 targets, 734 yards with an average. What I like about these guys, all 3 of them, I believe, is what they average. Over 10 yards every time. Coming off 5 touchdowns. His long was 44. Not too shabby. Now, what about the other guy? Allen Robinson. Brad Holmes said something the other day in the press conference as well about how they were looking at Allen Robinson when he left Chicago, basically. A few years ago in free agency, I made a video about this guy. It was a total dud, but that was back when the channel was first starting, and that was in that 2022 offseason when he left Chicago and eventually signed with the LA Rams. So I thought that was kind of funny because he was one of the names that we were talking about. I think Robert Woods he's been coming up for a few years as well. But Allen Robinson, the Detroit Lions were looking at this kid. He played here from here, right? And that had nothing to do with the Detroit Lions bringing him to this team. But what about him? Let's look at his stats. Now, Robinson, let's go back to Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick is 30, I believe. Yep, just turned 30 back in November. He'll be turning 31 this year. If we go to Allen Robinson, another 30-year-old receiver. As a matter of fact, he just had a birthday. He just turned 31. Now, I will say this. Brad Holmes like him over 30, don't he? He does. Don't be hating on me because I just spit the facts. Brad Holmes, age ain't nothing but a number for Brad Holmes. You got Tyson Alu. You got Bruce Irvin. You got 30 for 30 for 30 for 30 for 30. Brad Holmes love the 30. Listen, I'm just stating it. I know you going to be mad, but it is what it is. So coming off of the preseason here, 3 receptions for Allen Robinson, 23 yards from the average of, but let's look at his stats. Didn't even realize that Jacksonville drafted him, spent 4 years there, and then spent 4 years in Chicago, and then kind of bounced around after that year where he had 2 good years and then kind of fell off a cliff and has been on a steady decline the past couple of years. Now, the argument that you're going to hear, at least I'm going to hear it in the comment section, is who was throwing him the ball in in the past 2 years. So this is the year Stafford got hurt, was out for the season. I forgot who the Rams had before they traded, I think they traded for Baker Mayfield or something like that. He was a free agent. They brought him in. He only played 10 games. Maybe he was hurt. I don't really remember what happened to Allen in the 2022 season. But then 2023, we went over this already, 17 games, 34 receptions for 49 targets. His average, 0 touchdowns, man. His long was 31 and his average was 8.2. So as you can see, that was the lowest average of his career. So I'll give him that. I will cut him some slack, as in Kenny Pickett was throwing him the ball. I get it. I understand that. But he's been in the league a long time, man. Allen Robinson has been in the league since 2014, second-round pick out of Jacksonville from Southfield, Michigan. Shout out to Southfield, man. Greenfield and 12 Mile, man. I see you over there. So this guy can he be once what he was? Can Tim Patrick be what he once was? We're going to see. And last, and certainly not least on our list, or I should say certainly maybe, it depends on your perspective. You've got Donovan Peoples-Jones. Just seemed like yesterday he was drafted, 6th-round pick out of Michigan. I still remember watching him at Michigan. That's crazy. The youngest of the bunch, under 25, had a dismal preseason, right? You go and look at his stats. Was traded from Cleveland, and he wound up playing 15 games last season. Altogether, had a total of 13 receptions on a total of 25 targets and another total of 155 yards on the season in total, another 0 touchdown performance. So all 3 of these guys, no touchdowns. Tim was hurt. Allen, no touchdowns. Donovan Peoples-Jones, no touchdowns. Now, those are hard to get, right? Only one person can score a touchdown. Actually 2. If Jared Goff throws a touchdown, then it counts for a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. If a running back scores, it is a rushing touchdown. That does not affect the quarterback in any way. So only 1, maybe 2. If you're not the quarterback, only 1 person benefits from that touchdown. So those are hard to come by. So I'll cut him some slack there. But which one of these guys has the potential? I think that the Detroit Lions, they're going to bring one of these guys up. Now, we did hear when Tim Patrick was brought to the practice squad that it was with the intent on him joining the 53-man roster. And the Detroit Lions currently have 1 spot available, if I read correctly, on the 53. No, they don't. What do they? Wait a minute. They might. I can't remember. Either way it goes, they'll make some fluctuations and bring somebody, make this happen. Because we're going to have 5 wide receivers, at least. My question to you is there a scenario anywhere that you see 7 wide receivers on the roster? So let's play a little game. Let's have some fun. I'll tell you my thoughts after this scenario. 5 wide receivers. Who do you put on the team, on the active roster? Is it DPJ, Tim Patrick, or AR? Okay. 6 wide receivers. What 2 of them do you put on? And that's not preposterous. Like, we've carried 6 before. And if we were to somehow decide to go with 7, then all 3 would go in there. So let's have some fun. Who are you putting as the 5th wide receiver? I'm going to say that based on what we saw with the transaction of him, Tim Patrick will be the 5th wide receiver on the Detroit Lions active 53-man roster. I think I could see all these guys being on there. I really could see all of them if the Detroit Lions went to 7. But if we did 6, I'm undecided between DPJ and Allen Robinson. I really am. DPJ got the youth. AR got the experience. I mean, both of these guys kind of fell off a cliff. But isn't it kind of unique how all 3 of these guys are in like the same position, right? They're in the same position. Each of them had their moments 2 seasons ago. If we look at Allen Robinson, Allen is from 3 seasons ago. He went from a 1,250-yard season, which was the second best of his career, to only a third of that with 410 with the same, but he also had He also had Justin Fields as his quarterback. In 2020, he did not have that. But 2021, Justin Fields was his quarterback. So that explains a lot when your quarterback is running the football a ton. So I'll give him that. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But then you have Tim Patrick, who was hurt, obviously. But his last good season was, let's just say 2021, which would have been like 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago, 734 yards. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones is coming off of that Cleveland performance in 2022. He had 839 yards. So they've all got potential to be number 5s. 2 of them are over the age of 30. One of them, I don't know what to really say about DPJ. 2 of them have the height and size that we need. DPJ is 6'2", 204. Tim Patrick is, I don't know why they don't have his height and weight. I think he is 6'4", somewhere around there. Probably $200 and something. 20, probably somewhere around there. Allen Robinson, do they have his information? They don't have his height. Why do they not have people height and weight on here? I don't know. But I would assume he's the shortest of the bunch. Maybe 6'1", 6'2", maybe with Donovan Peoples-Jones. So who is going to be number 5? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to say just because of body type, skill set, performance, potential, and the fact that we signed him and it was in the fine print, like with the expectation of being on the 53-man roster, I'm going to say Tim Patrick gets that position. Now, I'm not going to backtrack on anything that I said. I mean, the history of hurt players, the history of 30-plus age players that Brad Holmes does. But listen, you're going to hear a lot of different reactions from me. A lot of them are going to be in the moment. A lot of them are going to be because I disagree. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I care about one thing, winning a Super Bowl this year. That's it. I don't care how we do it. I don't care when, like what we have to do it. If we have to get 37-year-old receivers, then yeah, I'm not going to like it. You're going to hear about it. But if we win a Super Bowl, who at that point, that's all I care about. I don't even care about like the first seed like that. Of course, I would love it. But if we sneak into the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, that's all I care about. Do I want that to happen? No. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. To me, that would be a regression. But the ultimate regression, in my opinion, would be to not make the Super Bowl. A lateral move would be getting back to the NFC title game and losing. A progression would be to get back there and make the Super Bowl. Now, me personally, I talked about yesterday in my live stream, I want to win our very first Super Bowl. And a lot of you might not believe this. As much as it hurt to lose that game the way we did in San Francisco, if that's what it took for us to win our very first Super Bowl, I will take that. You know why? Because I don't think I can handle it. I don't think I can handle losing our very first Super Bowl. I know what it takes to get back there. Not everybody can be the Patriots, the Giants, the Kansas City Chiefs. It is hard to get there once, let alone 2-3 times, right? So if all of this is because I want to win, and I saw it in Brad Holmes, again, what are your expectations for 2024 Super Bowl? No words. To win a Super Bowl. That was it, right? To win a Super Bowl. 4 words. To win a Super Bowl. Those are our expectations as well. So let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be wide receiver number 5? Do you think it's possible the Lions carry 6? And in what way, what timeline could you see the Lions carrying 7 wide receivers on their roster? I wouldn't be mad at either of those scenarios. I like 6, but that's just me. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get to 22K by kickoff, and we're sitting at 21,880 subscribers at the making of this video. Fantasy Football League, my recruit members just got while I was making this video, that somebody signed up for the Fantasy League, and we currently have, let me see, want to make sure. I think it told me that 6 spots were remaining, and we have 6 spots remaining. So check your members, check your membership community tab. It is only for recruit. If you are an executive, that drops tomorrow, and my director members, that drops on Sunday. All right, you guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other, and as always, go Lions.